though. Most of it's been cleaned up. But Nathanias being
Oh,
very aggressive.
great actually play over here from Nathanias, seeing that it was just mostly Banelings on an attack move, chasing after those medevacs. So you know what? Why not start dropping out some Marines, trading 1 for 1? Happily trade a Marine any day for a single Baneling.
And right now, Nathanias armed with the 4th base, Planetary Fortress up and running. Destiny has 4 bases as well, but not much going on here over at the left side just yet. He was just barely behind Nathanias in the workers, but now he is caught up once again. But he's undersupplied, and that's not a place where a Zerg wants to be in a late game against Terran. I mean, this is the time where you're supposed to be maxed, you're floating, everything's replaceable, the money is just coming in without any sort of interruption. That's not the
Right.
place where Destiny is at right now.
And I mean, yeah, Destiny, he has just gotten up that high tech. Compare this to the last game where Destiny had an enormous Mutalist flock. And I mean, still got a very scary Mutalist flock. It actually was double the size almost last game, but still, 25 Mutalists, nothing to scoff at. And last game, he also already had Ultralisk Cavern on the way. 3-3 finished up at this point. Had the Chitinous plating on the way as well. It was all just getting ready to close out the game. This game, Nathanias looking a lot stronger and already leading up a solid 25-30 supply right now.
Yeah, I mean, the trick here for Nathanias here is to continue to be aggressive because you want to keep the Zerg basically under-maxed and not banking. Because really, the way Zerg can always have an advantage is if they're banking. And, this big engagement right here, Baneling's cleaning up a lot of that army from Nathanias. But,
well, Nathanias still has a couple of units left over, and I mean, he does have a fair number of medevacs left over as well. Widowmine's burn a little bit closer to the cliff, maybe waiting to try and bait some of those units in. The Mutals on the far right-hand side of the map, maybe underestimating this force over here. I know it's a small force, but this can actually end up killing this expansion off if not dealt with correctly.
All right, so we are seeing those Mutas return home to try to defend that base. Nathanias, or Destiny buying himself some time with...
the Widowmines, the Widowmines!
Oh, that is huge! All of them went off on those Mutas.
Yeah, kills off a decent chunk of them. But still, another Widowmine shot! God, Nathanias is so mean with these Widowmines. I mean, they're just placed in the most random location. There's just a Widowmine at the bottom of the ramp. Why is there a Widowmine at the bottom of the ramp? I don't know, because the Mutals may fly over here.
Yes, particularly the watchtowers. I love how he's just basically making sure the Zerg cannot take them ever.
Oh, they're off cooldown again. Oh.
Well, we got
get some okay shots off. Nathanias is making some good progress over here. He's pushing on through. The drones are being evacuated.
Yep. So that base is basically a goner here, and this may be what Nathanias needs to just break through in this late game here, as he is starting to wear down on the mining locations that Destiny can use.
Yeah, Destiny's not down now just yet, but oh god, the Mutals are clumping on top of the Thor shots. A lot of them losing their lives over here. Widowmines are not. Nathanias is keeping that Mutalist count on the lower side where Destiny really wants them, especially with how heavily he's upgraded them and invested into them.
Yeah, I don't think you can over-exaggerate how important that is, because these Mutas have just lasted so long. I mean, I can't tell you how many TVZ games where late game Mutas just vaporize and they do nothing. But that's not the case here. But nonetheless, another base taken out by Nathanias, and Destiny is watching his income dry up.
Yeah, I mean, the third expansion, sure, it was taken a little bit later, so it's still mining, but that's basically his main source of income right now. He doesn't have a 4th or a 5th. In comparison, take a look at Nathanias. He's looking to take his 5th. His 4th expansion's been safe for a very long time. And Nathanias is just like checking around. He was like, wait, you still haven't taken that right-hand expansion again? Destiny doing some nice snipe offs on the medevacs, but he's going to need a lot of those to really bring himself back in right now.
Yeah, I mean, Destiny, still staying active with these Mutas, making sure that his natural doesn't suddenly get dropped. That'd be just really adding insult to injury. But he can't really engage this army now. Yes, his Mutas are very heavily upgraded, but, well, so are the Marines. There's a lot of them, and at some point, it's going to just be the tipping point against Mutas versus Marines. Oh, another Widowmine hit. The Widowmine's really working with Nathanias. Yeah, those are Zerglings.
I actually just imagine Destiny right now, like every time he kills off one of these Widow Mines, like, God damn you! Why do you keep killing me? And look at this, the Mutals have to engage against these Marines. I know they're well upgraded, but that is not going to be enough. GG, it's called. Nathanias tying up the series 1-1.
Oh man, everything that went wrong for Nathanias that first game is now just everything was
Turned
rectified in
on its
this one.
head.
Widowmine hits were amazing. He was able to get in mid-game harassment on Destiny. It was a total turnaround. Total turnaround.
Indeed. But man, some of those Widowmine hits. I love I wish actually I saw more players do kind of like that really crazy placement of Widowmines like Nathanias does. Like especially I love, as you were saying, like the Widowmines at the Watchtower, but he's not just placing like a one Widowmine there. It's always like either 2 or 4, right? It's enough that you'll like try and set them off with like a Zergling, and one of them will go off, and then Destiny may be like a little bit cautious, like, okay, there's probably still another one over there. Sends in another like Zergling or something. That one gets set off. And then there's still 2 more Widowmines left over. So the Mutals all come in to sweep in and clean them up. And boom, suddenly a bunch of Mutals just get picked off. Like it's really, really well done over there from Nathanias. And Destiny definitely going to be the one that has to adapt a little bit in the next game.
Yeah, and one thing I'm curious to see too is now that Nathanias has seen this opening from Destiny twice, is he going to, even though he won the previous game, is he going to maybe change things a bit so that his early game harassment works better? That's going to be something to watch out for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and one other thing that we kind of briefly mentioned was Nathanias did something that a lot of Terran players love to do, right? It's hit at the right, hit at the left, hit at the right, hit at the left. Hit one side and then immediately come in with another attack at the other, sometimes at the same time, right? In Nathanias, game 1, he would try and do the drops and just they would get picked up, like, while the drops were still heading over, they would get picked off by the Mutalists, and the Mutalists would just be back to defend against the push on the other side of the map. That game on King Sejong Station, and this may come into play of, like, what map was being played, Nathanias was really able to capitalize on the multi-prong aggression on multiple fronts, even when it wasn't happening at the same time. It was just so back and forth that every single time Destiny would try and be aggressive with those Mutalists, Nathanias would instead have a lot of units moving across the map that the Mutalists had to be there to defend. The Mutalists were actually not able to be aggressive after that initial point where they had like 10 Mutalists. After that, it was all Nathanias being aggressive, right?
Yeah, I mean, the map balance definitely had something to do with it. Sejong Station, just fantastic for drops, as we all know. And a lot of times, especially in that early part of the mid game, Destiny running back from that third base to the natural, and then he just couldn't cover them both. He probably could have split his army, I think, to defend both locations, but even so, it's extremely annoying, and that map was picked for a reason, I think.
Yeah, man. I mean, there is a very good reason for it, but of course, cannot repeat the maps, unfortunately, in this best of 5, so Nathanias is going to have to find a different map, if he actually even gets an opportunity to, because you know what? Nathanias looked really strong in that last game. I'm very interested to see whether or not he's even going to be able to just take this next game, because the next map is going to be Overgrowth. I think we're just getting players into the actual lobby. Having a couple problems with entering the lobby, it seems. Destiny going to just go ahead and reconnect, but we should be getting started with that shortly. But you know what, Droopy? A lot of people might be noticing. I think a couple people might be noticing that this is a relatively new stream on Hitbox, right?
That's right. That's right.
I think people might be kind of curious about what Hitbox is about. So why don't you tell us, like, as long as we're waiting a little bit for Destiny to get set up for the next game, what exactly is Hitbox, and what can people do on this channel?
Well, Hitbox, guys, is the reason why we are having this amazing event right now. We have Destiny Nathanias now. We had Estrella and Moose Skills earlier. We're going to have Journey. No, we're not. We had Journey last week. We're going to have Supernova and Patience as the headliner because Hitbox is sponsoring this event being hosted by Team Gravity. And Hitbox, as you guys are watching right now, it's got a lot of crazy cool features, man. The chat, people are posting GIFs. Much more interactive in a lot of ways. And you know what? I'm not even just this is the first day I've actually used Hitbox. Honest to goodness. Like, I just created the account today. I just clicked follow. I asked everyone to follow with me because I hadn't followed this stream yet. and it's actually really cool. I think it's the quality is good. I think it's very
Yeah.
efficient. Haven't had any lagging going on, which sometimes can be the case with these streams. So if you guys, aren't involved in the chat right now, you're watching this on Team Liquid. You're just a silent participant, man. Make an account super fast and get in on this party, guys. If you didn't catch last week's Fight Night event, which was casted by my co-caster Fear Dragon here, along with Axel Toss, you guys should definitely check it out in our video section. We had Journey and Hydra as the headliner event there, and both guys did a fantastic job, casters and players as well. So definitely catch up on that.
Yeah, thank you so much for the compliments on that. But of course, the players playing had some really, really awesome games. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more from the future Team Gravity Fight Nights. But with that being said, we finally have the game all ready and loaded up. I know there's also a poll going on, so be sure to vote on that. Let's go ahead and jump in and introduce the players as we spawn up here in the top right-hand corner of the map, Overgrowth. This was his map pick. It is the purple Zerg player, Destiny.
And on the bottom left-hand side, we have Caster Extraordinaire. He has, spent his career pampering the players, giving them coverage on WCS and everything. Now he's getting some of that treatment himself, which has to be a good feeling. And last game, he was able to pull out a very, very nice victory. Just a fantastic mid-game from him in that TVZ on King St. John Station. It is the Root Gaming player, guys, and WCS America caster, Nathanias. Okay, so Destiny now in the last 2 games went for that very aggressive 2-base Muto opening. Is he going to do it again? This is kind of the time where both players are trying to metagame each other, right? Nathanias thinking, okay, maybe I can switch up my build to try to counter that. Destiny's like, okay, I did this twice now, I got to pull out something different. So this is, yeah.
I think that's a really, really good point. And I kind of think back to like the way that I'm thinking about whether or not he decides to do that again is what went wrong in the last game that caused Destiny to lose. Was it the fact that Nathanias adapted to that specific opening? Or did the early game go well, but the late game started to have the problems, right? Because if it was just like a late game problem, with the because we talked a lot about Widowmine hits and like pushing on the right and pushing on the left, etc., then I think that's a separate problem from Nathanias adapting really, really well to the 2-base Mutalist play, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think about this right now. I'm like legitimately just thinking about it right now and wondering, like, I think Nathanias handled it like relatively well. He had like the Marines up a lot earlier. He went for the 3rd CC a lot earlier. But his push still got cleaned up really, really easily and really quickly. So I actually, you know what? I wouldn't hate it that much if Destiny just did it again. Oh, SCV almost gets picked off. Nice little control from Destiny.
Yeah, and it's always the tricky thing is in StarCraft is pinpointing why things happen the way they did, because there's so many different variables. That's what makes this game so exciting, is that anything can really happen sometimes, given the map, given the decisions that the players make real time. So should Nathanias go for the same build? Because the thing is, if he's expecting a 2-base opening of Muta again from Destiny, he knows for sure his push is going to fail. So if that's the case, should he even do it? Should he go for a different kind of attack, maybe a Widowmine-based opening instead? Maybe go for a more Marine-based attack, because there's a lot of players who like to do Marine drops, Hellion run-bys on the low ground. There's different ways he can adapt his opening here if he chooses to do so.
I kind of see what you're saying, but you know what? I actually would like to see a different adaptation from Nathanias. Not so much don't do the aggression, but every single time, like the first attack was a big Hellbat attack, right? He ran his Hellbat straight into the natural. It was like sitting at the base of the ramp for the main base. In the second game, he goes straight into the drone line and gets cleaned up by the Banelings. I would love to see him just be not super committed to the attack. I would like to see him maybe sit back a little bit Destiny is already delaying that third expansion. He's already making a lot of Zerglings and even Banelings to deal with the aggression. I think that's actually enough damage. If you can just keep those Hellions alive for a little bit later on, keep them to maybe come back in to harass later on, I'd be perfect. I think that would actually be a really nice situation for for Nathanias.
Well, it looks like he is going for an armory now, so that may signal his intentions to go Hellbat again. We are having a tech lab being made on this barracks, but still he's pumping out quite a few Hellions right now. He's going to bring some Marines over too, and he's looking to push right here. Destiny again is going for the early lair, as well as full saturation on his 2 bases. I think he's looking to do the same thing.
Yeah, it definitely is looking like it. I mean, lair techals are coming down for Destiny. Baneling Nest, oh god. Both of these, this is like a repeat of game number 1 in its own way, but we'll see how well it works out. Destiny does not have nearly as many units this time. I mean, the Baneling Nest is not finished up this time, and the drones are actually having to be pulled immediately. The Queen's going to be very, very important for holding this ramp.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a reliance on transfuses, but there's not a lot of energy on these Queens. They just expended it on tumors, so we're going to see these Marines now. And this is a little different here. It's not just strictly Hellbats. There are Marines involved here as well, and we see 2 of the Queens fall. The 4th one may as well. And suddenly, this is probably the first push by Nathanias early game that's going to do something.
Oh my god, it is. And I mean, the lair attack is finished up, but to what end? Even the Banelings, they're getting focus fire down. A really good pick off for Nathanias. And if he can prevent these Banelings from going up, I mean, his Hellbat count is only going to rise. There is only Zerglings going to be coming for the defense. There's not even extra Queens being made right now. It's Zerglings and Banelings. And guess what does pretty gosh darn well versus Zerglings? Hellbats. Hellbats, Troopy.
Yeah, this is a very strong early push here from Nathanias. Not to mention, even
mining.
if this gets cleaned up, where's it not mining? Oh, at
no,
all?
I mean,
yeah.
Destiny's not mining at all. He's now transferring drones over to the natural, and finally he may be cleaning up this push, but for a really long time, he was not mining. Guess what? Nathanias has a 3rd CC on the way behind this. He has double engineering base behind this. He has stim finishing up behind this. This was really, really well done by Nathanias. And he's still doing damage with these Hellions.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is the earliest CC we've seen from Nathanias yet, and his 2 Hellions are still alive, still roasting.
Kill counts!
Oh my goodness.
These are going to become commanders. These are going to become higher ranking officials in the army for Nathanias than Jim Raider. These guys are sitting at like 17, oh my god, 70 kills apiece.
Yeah, and towards the end there, Nathanias didn't even bother targeting the drones. He didn't even care anymore. He's more than happy to just start going nuts at home as far as macroing. +1's attack and armor being researched at the double engineering bay. He's starting to transition, throwing down a lot more production structures in these racks. He wants to go with bio once more. And let's take a look at what's going on at Destiny's side of the world. 37 workers, 2 bases. Who cares if you have a lair and saturated gases, my friend? You can't make anything right now with that tech. This is truly a bad situation.
So let's put some context on this, right? Like for the Spire that's actually still got 70 seconds to go, right? In the previous games, Destiny would get this 2-base Spire up, and it'd be a fast Spire. So Nathanias would have maybe like 2 to like 6 Marines, sometimes actually like not even having those, have like 2 Widow Mines. You'd have to throw up missile turrets, you had to play defensive, etc. This game, by the time the Beetles actually get to Nathanias' base, Nathanias is going to have full barracks production from his, 5 or so barracks that have all of their add-ons finished up. He's going to have stim and combat shields finished up. And Destiny is not going to have his 3rd still because these Hellions are still killing off these Zerglings. And the Banelings, apparently.
And Banelings. Yeah, I mean, with the Spire that's about to pop now, this is almost like a normal timing Spire, except with no 3rd base.
Yeah.
So that's rough.
No 3rd base and about 30-ish drones less.
Yeah, that sounds like a team game. We're watching a team game right now. Oh man.
Oh, man.
Nathanias taking that 3rd base, starting to rally a bunch of Marines out. He's got turrets all over. Does he even really need them is another question. Because really, there's only so many mutas that Destiny can afford. And yeah, I mean, Nathanias, just up to him when he wants to make his move because he is ahead in every single way.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder, like, what can Destiny really do in his situation right now, right? Because he's in the game because he feels like there's still some potential, right? The Mutalisk can come in over here. They're gonna see that the missile turret is already finished up, and I mean, not a whole lot that he can really do harassment-wise over there. Maybe he can find some other openings, because, you know, still well-controlled Mutalisk. Destiny has been good with his Mutalisk control, but no, he realizes what's happening. Nathanias going up 2-1.
It is a no GG exit there from Destiny. And
I
you
would
know
be a little bit frustrated. Yeah, I'd be
I wouldn't
frustrated
blame him.
too.
I wouldn't blame him.
Mhm,
You know, he had a great first game, but Nathanias has,
mhm.
over the course of 2 games, sort of responded well. This is probably his. I think this game was Nathanias saying, "Okay, I'm sick of this two-base unit build. I'm gonna hard counter it." Like this is the game where he really decided to do that. So let's see if next game Destiny will try something different. Or who knows, maybe it's the reverse, the meta game. Like, I'm going to still do it again because you think I'm not going to do it anymore. I don't know. So many mind games involved in StarCraft.
Yeah, it gets a little bit crazy. But you know what? I think that I'm not gonna read too much into the like no GG from Destiny. I think honestly, and like I immediately saw he was just like dead or dead wing, go go. So that's gonna be the next map. I think he just wants to move on, not worry or dwell too much on that game because it really just did come down to that big attack from Nathanias and how effective it was. So you know what? If Destiny can figure out how to handle that appropriately and be prepared for any kind of additional Hellbat pushes or anything, one thing that I really wish that I had maybe paid a little bit more attention to earlier on was actually it was actually the scouting of Destiny, right? Because the armory, I'm pretty sure, didn't get scouted, right? If you saw an armory and a Hellbat push coming out, you either would have like made the Baneling nest a little bit earlier, or you would have gone for the Roach Point earlier, or something like that, right? But none of those things coming out. I kind of feel like Destiny hasn't been scouting Nathanias all that much, right? There hasn't been
Yeah,
like a
not
scout to
really.
see, are you going for the 3CC that Nathanias hasn't really ever done so far? Or are you going for the Hellbat push, or are you just going for like adding on a lot of barracks and going for like fast stim and all that stuff? Like he hasn't really gotten a good gauge of that from my understanding of the series so far. So I'd love to see that be one thing that Destiny does a little bit more of.
Yep. And especially because Nathanias has slowly changed his openings from game to game. It's kind of hard for Destiny to just, you know, make an assumption at this point that, oh, Nathanias is going to play this certain style. So he may have to rely a little bit more scouting. But given the map that we're going to be having this game number 4 on, well, I think these players will have a little more freedom to do what they want opening up. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Only time will tell. But you know what? The time is now. We're going to be jumping into introducing the players as we spawn up here at the top left-hand corner of the map. Top of the teal Terran player, mixing up those colors. It is going to be Team Kappa, also Team Roots, Nathanias.
And on the bottom left-hand side is going to be the player who's looking to capture some of that momentum back that he had earned in game number 1, but suddenly in 2 losses is, well, facing a match point. So this is game 4. Nathanias leading 2-1. He is going to be playing against this guy here. It is the Purple Zerg Destiny. So again, the prize here is going to be $10 for the winner of this best of 5. And then afterwards, we will be going into our headlining match, which is a best of 7 featuring Supernova and Patience. So that's going to be really the feature presentation, no question. But it's so great to still have so many of these you know, really talented players playing beforehand. Just kind of shows you, you know, how blessed we are at this event, I think.
No kidding, man. And it should be it should be a pretty awesome series. But I'm enjoying this one, man. Because the thing is, I don't know, this is going to be like my small little spiel, but I really do enjoy StarCraft regardless of whatever level it's at. It's actually just like really cool to see at most levels if you have a really close match. And I feel like we've seen a really close series. In this one, the Moose Skills versus Estrella series is really close and back and forth. And that's what really makes StarCraft enjoyable.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And like I told you this during our break, is every series that goes to game 5 or goes to the ace match is guaranteed to be good. Like there's no way it could be a bad series if it took up every single game. I mean, unless it's
Yeah.
literally, mech versus mech.
Oh God, if you had a best of five with five Swarm hosts versus mech games. Uh, yeah. So by the way, if Nathanias or Destiny both go Swarm host mech in game five of this for hours and hours and hours, I'm gonna go like work out or something. I'm just gonna
Hey,
leave you, Drippy. You're gonna have to solo cast that one.
let's knock
Just
on
letting
wood.
you know.
Let's knock on wood for my sake here, okay? Gee.
All right, we both knocked on wood. We're good. We're solid. All right, we're
No,
covered.
actually, if that happens, I'm gonna be taking my Chipotle dinner with Estrella earlier.
Maybe have Estrella bring it to you, man, because you're gonna be there for a while. But look at this, Nathanias, 3cc opening before factory, before marine. Really, really greedy opening over here from Nathanias. And you know what? If the map is Deadwing, why not, man? Why not?
Yep, I mean, this is using the map to his advantage. This is probably the most macro-oriented map that's in the map pool right now. And Nathanias is not afraid to take advantage of that. Destiny, on the other hand, is he going to do the same thing again? Let's see. Right now, he is mining gas. He hasn't quite reached the 100 mark yet. If he continues to mine after that, then we kind of have an idea. But for now, still just one saturated gas. And he is continuing to mine here, so he may just continue to do that
Mm.
two-base build. Let's see.
Yeah, this is looking a little bit suspicious now. Normally you don't need gas after you got that Zergling speed up this early on. Zergling gonna move around to the Zelnaga Watchtower, and I'm wondering how this plays out, right? Because all of the previous games, Nathanias has gone for the fast factory behind
Mhm.
the first CC, and eventually maybe thinking about a third CC, but he's been adding on barracks or like a starport. He's gone for the Banshees all the games, or even Hellbats. If Destiny goes for that fast layer tech, gets up a fast 2-base Spire, this game, where we have fast 3cc Nathanias, how does this go? How does this play out?
Well, it depends on what Destiny finds out. If Destiny knows about this, it's questionable if he even needs mutas, because a Bane bust could do massive damage here. But right now, it doesn't appear that Destiny has really moved into Scout all too much. He might attempt it again with a Ling or maybe another Overlord flyby. But for now, he does appear to be just going, for the same strategy here. He's got his lair on the way right now. His Baneling nest is also along the way. So I think, if Destiny plans on doing the same kind of aggressive opener, he may not even be as concerned as the scouting Nathanias because, well, I'm going to attack you anyways. So.
Yeah. And here's kind of the interesting thing is that think about how Nathanias played in all the other previous games where he always got Hellions, right? He always, even if he didn't get full vision of what was going on, he always got some vision of what Destiny was up to. This game, he has to scout with this SCV. The only thing that he really sees is that there was no third, I think. He actually didn't even get over the third. He just saw a lot of clip there. So he has to scan, and he sees the fast layer this time. He sees the Banelings. He sees all the gas guys. He should know what's up, and can he respond appropriately?
Yeah, I mean, if that SCV had actually gone to the third to confirm there was none, then he could have saved those scans and knew automatically. The Zerg's still on 2-base at 7:30. And, we've seen Destiny 3 games now do this. I think Nathanias could have jumped to conclusions at that point. But, he drops the scan to confirm. Fair enough, because he's on 3 CCs. You're going to have extra energy anyways. And now, well, he's going to have to double down on getting some anti-air up.
Yeah, I also like what you were saying right there, where Nathanias has 3 CCs, and if he scouts out that there's no third, there's actually very little harm in scanning, right? Because you can afford to sacrifice the economy to not die in the game. Your economy counts for very little if you lost.
Yeah, that's a good trade, I would say. And he's gonna have his 1-1 finish up now. That's the great thing about going 3CC is you will basically, early game fall behind on the unit count or the army count, but you're going to catch up in tech really fast. So we're seeing 1-1 now finishing up for Nathanias. That's going to aid him immensely for when those mutas arrive, 7 of which right now are in production by Destiny. And, well, we'll have to see what Destiny can do with them.
Yeah, and You know, I think that Nathanias should actually be okay. He has a large number of Marines. He's establishing that third, and you know, Stim is going to be finishing up. He's got an armory that's finishing up, so he's going to have obviously the Widow Mines coming out of those the factory with the reactor and everything. But he's also going to be able to start those 2-2 upgrades. He's looking to be in a really nice situation, and I don't know if Destiny realizes that. Okay, no, he does have vision that this third expansion was taking on the lower ground. I was thinking that he has this Overlord goop and creep up at the normal third location, but he's on top of it.
At this point, okay, now Destiny knows, but I wonder how long he didn't know if Nathanias had it.
Oh, he had vision of it. I checked it like right before those Mutilas were flying in.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, the Mutas have now flown into the main, and well, he can't get too close to the missile turret, but he's going to try to take out the gas. And
Overseer, though.
Yeah, the Overseer was taking quite a few hits to the face there.
That's actually pretty nice, though, right? If you actually use the Overseer to absorb the missile turret shots, I mean, you're okay with losing an Overseer, losing Mutalis, a little bit worse off on that one.
Yeah, that's a good point there. Overseer has a meat shield.
Well, fourth expansion being taken over here for Destiny. Maybe trying to play a little bit of catch-up for the fact that Nathanias did go for that 3cc. Pretty much uncontested for the most part.
Yeah, I think Destiny knows that at this point, especially given the arrangement of the map, it's hard to really break through and do some kind of an all-in attack right now. The Deadwing just isn't really conducive to that. So he's going to try to transition here. Keep up the map control, of course, not just leave Muta sitting at home, but just try to macro up here and have a game that was more akin to game one, I think. Because that was a pretty long macro-style game between these two guys.
Yeah, and I think that's where Destiny maybe found a little bit more strength. Because think about like how King Sejong Station versus Catalina is shaped out, right? Or even this map, it's going to be very difficult for Nathanias to do a lot of those like really big split pushes along two different sides of the map over here because everything is so clustered together. You can practically fit, I mean, when you zoom out all the way as an observer, you can practically fit every single hatchery on the screen. So I think that Destiny going to be feeling a lot better about that. Although, Nathanias got to be careful about those banelings.
Yeah, and well, Nathanias does let a lot of his units die here in the center. Venturing on the creep, always a dangerous thing to decide to do. And then oftentimes this can happen. But these Mutas are caught off guard for a bit there. Meat shield now disappearing for them in that Overseer. But Nathanias doing
not
creep.
A lot of Marines left, though.
He's going to lift them off here and try to escape.
Yeah, and I like that Destiny is not using any of these banelings on these Marines. He kind of realizes, like, look, I don't even need these I don't need to use these banelings to clean up your stuff. But the Mutilis is actually going after the Medevacs right now. Oh no, Destiny losing track of his Mutilis. He's losing all of them.
Oh, that was definitely a mistake on his part there. They just sort of lingered there for a while. I don't know if he was busy with something else, but remember, the key to Destiny winning in that game number one was his Mutalisks staying alive, like, for eternity. He didn't lose a single one for the longest time. But once you start losing a few, you know, every 30 seconds, your Muta count's not going to be nearly as scary. And Nathanias is trying to make that happen.
75% of them in 5 seconds, that also hurts it. Oh, that was painful. But, you know, it's not over yet. Destiny still has a large number of Zerglings, and you know what? Still has a large number of Banelings moving in. These Marauders gonna get cleaned up, and I like, again, Destiny making sure not to utilize those Banelings on the Marauders. He needs them on the Marines, but look at this pre-split from Nathanias.
Oh, and he's staying off creep, too, when he's splitting those Marines, which is excellent.
Yeah.
But Lings, though, still cleaning up. More Banelings arriving, and Destiny's able to hold there. Oh, but another
for a little bit, but loses a couple more of these Mutas. This is what you were talking about, man. You lose a couple here and there, slowly but surely. Your Mutilis count, it doesn't necessarily constantly stay down, but it never really grows. And you know what happens when the Mutilis count doesn't really grow? The Medevac count grows. The Medevac count, I would say the nice thing that's going on for Destiny is that the Medevac count hasn't really grown that much. He's done a good job of picking them off, and usually when he sacrifices Mutilis, he's going after those Medevacs.
Yes.
But still, if you don't have the Mutilis in the long run, the Marines are still surviving and Nathanias is still trading well, the Medevac count is still going to have the opportunity to grow pretty heavily.
Yeah, that is so true what you said about him chasing after those Medevacs, because a lot of times Zerg players, they truly just A-move, and then at that point, you know, the Terran will have a bunch of medevacs left over, which actually isn't the worst thing in the world, right? Because they have constant production of bio units back at home. But if you target down those medevacs, they take a while to be made, and a Terran player is not going to have 3 starports at this point in the game. It's just 1.
No.
So, yeah, it definitely helps the Zerg in that situation. But Nathanias is pushing again. Of course, Destiny needs to avoid those Widow Mines. No need to fight him off creep if there's nothing to defend there. So, he's going to try to snipe those.
Widow Mines get burrowed just on the edge of the creep. Pretty typical maneuver for a lot of those Terran players. And Nathanias just constantly poaching forward with these Marauders because he knows, you know what, your Banelings don't want to explode on my Marauders. So it's kind of like the Marauders going in and trying to snipe off High Templar and PvT. But ooh, Widow Mine hits going off. Actually killing off some of the medevacs over there, I think.
Oh yeah, the friendly fire from Widow Mines, can't forget that. Helping Destiny do his job. That did not go well for him at all. He tried to kill off those Widow Mines. Instead, he took missile hits to the face. Everything is in weak health now. And I have to think that might open an opportunity for Nathanias to push forward now.
I think Destiny is maybe considering moving to Canada, getting some of that free public health care for his mules right now. Because I'm pretty sure it's looking pretty good for him. The Banelings are going to try and move in over here, try and push back some of these units, but God, Nathanias just creeps up a little bit more with the Widow Mines. I mean, God, the Widow Mine gets off at the last second. Oh.
Yeah, Widow Mines, shots, man. Big X factor here in this game and in game number 2 as well. And Destiny, the one thing that he can hang his hat on is the mutas do regenerate pretty quickly these days. But still, every time those hits go off, he has to back off. He cannot further engage. Yeah. But I'm still waiting to see Nathanias take advantage of that.
He's just, like, you think about maybe where we were a minute and a half ago. Nathanias was over at the Zelnaga Watchtower trying to do this pushing. Now, he's pushing into the creep, and he's also dropping in the main base, doing a lot of damage over there. And Destiny, he has to deal with so much aggression, and he's losing ground constantly. He's losing drones, too.
Oh yeah, you're right. I mean, Nathanias is pushing ever so slowly, not just being too. I guess that's true. I mean, if he were to just be impatient and push all in, who knows if the Banelings end up in places where they shouldn't be, right? But it's he's slowly advancing, taking out the main base for the most part. Nathanias on a roll here, and Destiny, could you say doing the same thing over and over again is insanity? I don't know.
Maybe, man, but Destiny has finally managed to clean this up. Nathanias maybe splitting up his units a little bit too much, but oh God, you know what? Maybe he can afford to, because as long as he gets the split off relatively well against the Banelings, I think he's done a pretty good job, but the mutants are still all intact right now. Maybe this is Destiny's chance.
Yeah, Destiny armed with 20 mutas right now, 24 with another 2 on the way. What does Nathanias have at home to defend? His macro needs to be on point here to be able to hold this without too many losses. Don't really see much around here, though.
Oh, but the Thors are popping out. I mean, oh my God, big Baneling hits going off in that mineral line, but you have to remember, Destiny lost a lot of drones during those drops as well, and he's still also down on the upgrade count. These Marines are 3-3 Marines fighting against the Mutalisks. Their Marines are rallying in, and even though the Mutalisks are trading okay, I mean, I don't know if Destiny can afford to trade okay. I feel like he has to get better trades right now.
Yeah, his Mutalisks are only 2-1. This is a far cry from the first game where he basically had 3-3 mutas at this point, which is almost unprecedented. And you're right, the drone count is low for him. The SCV count is, now lower for Nathanias, but guess what? He has mules. The Zerg does not have mules here. So really, at this point in the game, when you have multiple orbital commands, you're going to have a lot of mules at your disposal. So losing SCV is almost as a good thing if you're going to free up supply for yourself.
Yeah, it might not be the worst thing in the world, but God, finally, look at this. 5th expansion going down for Destiny. How long has Destiny been on 4 base? It's been such a long time, and it's not because, Destiny forgot the 5th expansion. He had no opportunity to take a 5th expansion. Like, he was under an insane amount of aggression, and that just goes to show you, like, how aggressive and effective Nathanias has been. And look at this, leading up 50 supply. This could very well be the make or break moment for whether or not Destiny gets to bring this to a game number 5.
Yeah, and look at this. The creep has receded. Nathanias been taking out all the tumors. Destiny not been able to replenish them. And so, well, without being able to fight on creep, that's going to make life harder for Destiny this time. Running onto the Marauders with the Banelings.
Oh, those
And
Mutalists.
that is that.
Nathanias gonna take
Nathanias.
this series 3-1. Dude, okay, I want you to take a look at this poll in the chat right now that we had going, because we had match point. What's the final score is the question, and